Welcome back to Legacy Builders, everybody. So, as you can see, my dad is out today. We kicked him out. And we have my mom. And so I'm really excited for this episode, just because we're going to talk all about mother-daughter relationships. We're going to talk about our story, from the beginning to where we are now. And we're still working on it. We're still improving every day and growing. And yeah, I'm super excited for this episode. Mom, I just want to honor you first. I want to say thank you. You are an incredible mom. I'm proud to call you mom. And I love you.
Oh, so. I don't want to start crying right at the beginning. Thank you.
You're welcome. But we're going to kind of jump in and start at the beginning of our story. So the thing about mother-daughter relationships, or any relationship in general, especially between a kid and a parent, is the fact that it changes. So who you were as a mom to me at like 4 or 10 years old is not who I need in high school. It's not who I need in college. It's not who I need in as I grow, you know? Mm-hmm. And so as your kid grows, the relationship has to grow too. They need more than just food and water and baths. And I know that's more than that's not like everything that you've done. You did a ton for us. But let's start at the beginning. Like, tell me what you appreciated that you did as a mom when I was little, because I don't always remember those moments and those things.
Okay. So you were a very good child. My parents used to always say I was the compliant child. That was pretty easy and got good grades in school and did well. And I would think actually you were very similar to that when you were small. You were a very good child. We did discipline you when you were smaller, but by the time you were 3, 4, 5, you had started, you were obedient, you obeyed us, you were pleasant and happy, and you were always willing to help because your brothers were right behind you. We had 3 kids in 3 years. And so Madison was a big help to me, and she still is today. I've told her many times, I couldn't do this without you, Madison. Like, you are so helpful with Michael and with me. Just stepping in where I might be overwhelmed or need help. But, our relationship when you were small, I was more the mom that, fed you, clothed you, like you said, took you back and forth to school, drove the car all over to dance, softball.
To fun places was always a part of.
I did try very hard. I did, when they were small, I was in a MOPS organization, which is Mothers of Preschoolers. I highly recommend it. It's a great organization. It's a great day. It's a great way for mothers to have a little break in their day and talk with other adults instead of little kids. And as a result of that, it kind of prompted me to be somewhat creative and think of some fun ideas, that we could do in our house and in our family. And so we tried to institute, a once a month holiday, because there technically is a holiday every month. We also would take little field trips and go places, the zoo, the museums. We'd go visit friends. And, even if it was just for, a cheeseburger in the park, it was kind of just to get out of the house and do something. It was, you were good. And we had that kind of just caregiver relationship somewhat, until you started to get a little bit older, grade school, 5th, 6th grade is kind of when friend drama starts and girl, issues type thing where you might need mom a little bit more to step in and help and give advice or just be there, and I think your dad was a lot better at dealing with all of the drama and counseling you on how to, work with your friends and what to do and what to say. And, you're a lot like him. You're very headstrong, and but you're also very kind. So, I mean, and then do you want me to keep going and continue on? I mean, that was grade school. So
we're going to kind of, we've got our story from like your perspective, and then I'll kind of tell my perspective. And yeah,
I mean, I think when you were smaller in grade school, I mean, I probably might have been a little bit too hard on you, and expected these high results type thing, or expected that you would behave instantly, which is not even realistic. And I just didn't give you guys grace. And I think as I've gotten older, I've learned that moms just relax and have fun, be on the floor with your kids on the carpet. And I didn't do a lot of that. I was busy. I got to do this and I got to do that. And, read the books and, just hug them. And, as Madison got a little older, I think not doing some of that began to kind of show a little bit where, it was tougher for us to talk. And, I mean, I did take you out. I think you were 11 or 12, and we had a date night type thing where, we went, I can't remember where we ate, but we went somewhere and then we talked in the car, the girl talk and everything. And, and I just let you know I was there for you. And I think, we've been very open about all of that. And you felt like you could come to me with whatever you needed. But as high school happened, I think things were a little strained, and it was harder to relate to you because you had these dreams and these goals and you were charging ahead and wanting to do this and that. And I was like, wait, you're my little girl. And so I think it's gotten better to now. If you want to look at now, we have worked very hard these last several years to just talk and not, both of us jumping to conclusions or being defensive, just trying to be accepting and understanding and empathetic to what the other person's going through. I feel like we're in a really good place right now, and we have a good relationship. Not great, but it's getting there. And it can only get better as years go on and we continue, to dive deeper into the conversations that aren't just surface.
Yeah. And just like a credit to you and thank you to you, because you really did respond to that when I asked you for a deeper relationship, or I brought you these issues that we were having. You really listened and you responded. And so thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Because we would not be able to have this podcast if you didn't respond.
True.
So to any girls who maybe have it a little bit rough with their moms right now, or it's a rocky relationship and things aren't going the way that you think, daughters or moms who maybe can't relate to their daughters right now, I just want to give you hope that it can happen, that it can improve. You guys can grow, but it does take both of you. It's a team effort. And so we're going to kind of go into that a little bit later, but I'll kind of tell our story from my perspective as well. But my perspective, as a kid, up until grade school, elementary, I remember you taking us on fun trips. I remember you reading us some books at night, and we sat in this chair in our house and we read Bible stories. And I remember that. And I remember the fun dinners that you would cook. We have this tradition where we're not Irish at all, but we do green dinners on St. Patrick's Day. And so I remember the fun traditions that you would put in place. And I remember the fun adventures that we would go through, and the girl talk night that we had. But as entering more 5th, 6th grade and middle school, high school years, we didn't really go out after that girl talk. And so for me, my love language is quality time. And so I needed that time to be able to relate and to talk, and not just like I needed to be able to talk to my mom too, not just hear you talk.
Okay.
And that was kind of, I guess, where it got a little rocky, or there was some comments just, I think, that maybe rubbed me the wrong way as a middle school, high schooler. And so it just put a little bit of a crack in our relationship, a little bit of a distance, I think, because I just needed you to grow with me in the relationship, I think. And so I was ready to get to know my mom and to do that. But it didn't happen in middle school, high school time, and that's okay. It's happening now. And so I think when we moved down to Tennessee, we really sat down and you heard me. You listened and heard me, and I kept pushing for that and pushing. And so then we've gone out a couple times and really had coffee and just gone to dinners, got haircuts together, just like these small moments. But we've been able to talk in the car and like really talk, not just like surface talk about our day or about friendships or that stuff, but like actually getting to know my mom and actually talking about some of the hurts and resolving those things. And it didn't happen right away. Like, it wasn't the first car ride we were like, hey, like, all great and dandy, this is what hurt me, and okay, everything's great. And so it took time for that. It took us we had to start with the surface things. We had to start with kind of just, getting to know each other, getting to know your daughter as an adult instead of just your daughter as a kid anymore. And so understanding those dreams, like we talked about those, you just said like, oh, hey, wait up, like you're still my little girl, but understanding like why I wanted to accomplish those things and the importance of me like wanting a relationship with you and why that was so important to me and just like that type of stuff. And so it took some time, but we're at a great place right now. We're a really good place. We still, like you said, we've got growing to do, but I think every relationship can grow. And so we're at a good place.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think some of that stems from, my mom wasn't a bad mom in any way. We just weren't close. The way Madison and I are getting to. We didn't talk about boys in school and issues and, we just didn't talk. And so I think, that was the example I saw growing up. I also know other women who have been great mothers too. And, so when Madison started dealing with the hard things, in junior high and high school, I didn't know what to do, and, the whole talking thing wasn't part of my growing up. And there was also a struggle too, I think, of that, you growing and, still wanting to be your mom and kind of tell you what to do. But I need to learn that you're wanting to be independent too. And for me growing up, when I got to high school, I couldn't wait to leave and go to college. I was done. I wanted to be on my own. I wanted to get out of the house. And, that's where I was. I think sometimes, I don't know, some daughters, why do you think they want that relationship with their mom in high school? Because I think a lot of times moms think they don't want anything to do with you.
Yeah. And I think that's really because culture perceives it that way. you hear all the time, like, the daughters, they're just a disaster when they get
Well,
to high
she's a
school.
teenager. She's
She's a
crazy.
teenager. She's just a teenager. It's just her attitude, like all of that. And so it gives you as the mom already an attitude towards your teenage daughter.
Yeah.
Like you didn't even get to try to know her yet. You already have this attitude that she has an attitude. And then your attitude creates the attitude. And like it's just you guys feel each other out. And
but
yes.
You think girls really want to know their moms?
Oh, absolutely. I think there is really a desire to get to know your mom, because not only as a woman is she your example, like your prime example. You have other examples out there as well, but your mom is your prime example, and I think they have a desire to get to know the mom, but I just think there is like some disconnect as well. And I think part of that is society saying as soon as she's a teenager, like it's just going to get bad. And so that already sets the tone for those middle school, high school years.
Right.
And I think we need to change that tone, honestly. I think you need to get to know your daughter first and then decide. Like maybe she's really going through it, or maybe she really needs you but doesn't know how to say that. There's just so many scenarios that could be. And I would go back to you. Like, did you have a desire you still have a desire to really get to know your mom and to really have like a deeper relationship and a deeper,
I do.
and a deeper.
Yeah, I do. And I feel like, in the last 10 years, we've gotten maybe closer than we've been because, I have been able to talk with her a little bit and spend some time with her, maybe on a one-on-one type basis or, but yeah, I want to hear her stories and her, history. And there's things I didn't even know that came out at Thanksgiving, that she talked about. And, I think when I was listening to you talk, what I was hearing and made me think is, there's this dilemma too in a mom's mind of I'm the mother, I can't be their best friend because I'm the mom. And so it's a hard line to figure out where, how do I be their friend, but still be their mom? Because in high school, you still need discipline and boundaries and rules. And that comes from being a parent, but also you can also be their friend. And so how do you differentiate, is kind of, that was difficult.
Well, and I think me and Dad kind of touched on this in one of our episodes, our story episodes. And I think the line between being a parent and being that friend, I think it starts when you're younger. You've got to create that respect and that trust when they're young. And then as they grow into you still have to create that respect and that trust as you go into the 5th and 6th grade and middle school and high school ages. You've got to create a respect and a trust, because when they respect and they trust you, I don't think they're going to try to push all your boundaries.
True.
They're not going to try to, if you're not like bossing them around or telling them what to do or like threatening to take the stuff away or, stuff like that. Like, they're going to respect you as a parent. Like when you, it goes both ways. You also have to respect and trust them as well. And so when that respect and trust goes both ways, like they will, when you have to step up and be parent, they will respect that. They may not be happy about it in the moment, but they will respect it. Yeah. And so I think those boundaries and that stuff, it does start when they're younger and continue when you build that respect and trust. But I want to talk about, well, actually I had another thought on this desire for mothers and daughters relationship. And I think the desire isn't just to have a relationship and to know the mom, but to really have your mom know you as well. Like, I think if you can't be known like by your parents or be able to share or trust them. I think that there is no relationship then. So I think there is that desire to know your mom, but also to have her know you.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Does it?
Yeah, I think it does.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, I think, as you and I have talked more and more, it's interesting to see, some of the things you're dealing with in life, and how you're addressing them or walking through it. And, in my mind, sometimes I'm like, well, that's not how I would have done it, or that's not how I did it, but I can't say that because it's your life. And, it's what you're going through, and I'm just there to listen. And by listening, I can understand you and hear what you're saying, or ask for clarification if I don't understand. But I can learn to know you and what's in your head and what you're thinking about when I just listen.
And I think that's a really good point, is moms and daughters, if you guys are just getting to a point where you're trying to work on this relationship and start that, just listen. Don't offer that endpoint, but don't offer that advice that it may be well intentioned, but it might not be received as well intentioned. Right. So sometimes, when every 20-something-year-old is trying to figure it out, just moms, remember what it was like for you when you were 20-something, or however old your daughter is. Just remember what it was like for you at that stage of life. Like, did you have it all figured out, or did you do everything exactly right? If the answer is no, maybe don't offer that advice quite yet.
Yeah.
If the timing and the stage is just the beginning, because I can see them putting up a brick in the wall.
Well, I think as a parent, you want the best for your child, and you don't like to see them hurt. You don't like to see them struggle, know, so you want to try and prevent that or help them. But I think if you asked, thousands of women, when they're discussing something with a friend, with their husband, a coworker, most of the time they're not looking for a solution. They're just looking for someone to listen to them.
Yeah.
They just want to tell you what they need to say. They don't need you to solve their problem right then.
Well, and I think too, another great, if you say, can I offer you some advice?
Yes, that's really good.
That puts them in the headspace to be like, oh, I
you could say no.
Yeah. Am I ready for this advice? Am I ready to hear it? And so if yes, then definitely offer your advice. But just ask for their permission. Yeah. I think that could take them a long way. I think that's good. Yeah. So back to where do you think the disconnect between mother and daughters, where does that happen, do you think?
I've given probably several different places where it could happen. And I think, it's also this stigma, that, your daughter's 15, she wants nothing to do with you. And, and then they get to 20 and they know everything. And, they don't want to hear what you have to say because they know it or think they know it, and it could happen in a lot of different places. It could be, one conversation that went wrong and that daughter took it the wrong way and won't let it go. And that could be something, the daughter, this has never happened between us, but I know there's been situations where children, lash out at their parents and I hate you. I never want to see you again. Well, that hurts a mother, that hurts their heart, and it's hard to overcome that, and get past that. But that's where unconditional love comes in. And honestly, now that I say that, I mean, I think I've had to learn what that is. What is unconditional love and what does it mean and how is it displayed? And I struggled with that early on. I probably struggled that, when you guys were small, and so sometimes, yes, I love all of you. I love all three of you. I birthed all of you. You're all my kids. But, in a mom's head, well, they didn't do this, they didn't do this. Or, and it doesn't mean you love them any less, but it's just something I've had to struggle with. And it could have affected or played out in our relationship.
Yeah, that's a good point. So I think where the disconnect comes to is that we've got like this expectation, this of what mother-daughter relationship should even be. And we think it should be really good, but we just don't know how. We just don't know how to make it happen. And so I think too, if you guys are at like a rocky standpoint, like it takes one to reach out and it takes the other to respond. So daughters, if your mother's reaching out, it takes you to respond, to come with a heart, an open heart, not a closed heart of all the hurt and all the things that they said, but it takes an open heart. And mothers, if your daughter's reaching out, it takes you to respond. It takes you to listen. It takes you to hear.
Didn't we do like once a month? Go somewhere, go to eat, have coffee. I mean, or maybe it was twice a month. I don't know. We tried to kind of do, just me and you, focus time. Yeah. Where it was nothing else, and those were a little weird at first, but they got better and then they got better. I mean, it was learning to talk. And, as you've gotten older, I think you're, in a different stage where, you're dealing with bosses and jobs and, needing guidance sometimes. Sometimes. But
well, and I think my advice to daughters would be is have patience with your mom. Like they've never done this before. The only example they have set for them is what their moms did. There's not a lot of examples of moms necessarily, I feel like today. Right. That's not just be your best friend and managing kind of both those roles. So have patience and be willing to forgive quickly. If they say something that rubs you the wrong way, forgive quickly. As your relationship grows, you'll be able to talk to them about that. And they'll be willing to listen. But at the beginning, they may not want to hear that. And sometimes I think as daughters, when we mention those things or we bring up and push on some subjects, it could be bringing up an insecurity in the mom that they have. And so I think just in the beginning, really be so patient and forgive. And so, Mom, what would your advice to daughters be?
I think, when you were younger, if something happened or you got in trouble or whatever, I would always try and come to each of you and be, I'm sorry, I love you, and just make sure you knew that you were loved. But I think a lot of times you probably only focused on the bad that happened and how you messed up. And so I think as a mom, I would say the same thing you did. Be patient, be patient with your kids. They don't know everything. They're kids. And let them be kids. I think letting them be a child and have the freedom to explore all of that stuff is needed, for them to develop into the next stages of life. Yeah. And, I think as a mom, I'm suggesting to daughters, right? Yeah. So I think,
your advice to daughters.
I would say, if something's bothering you, hopefully as a mother, you've made it clear you have an open door, you have, an open heart. You can come talk to me about anything that you want, that you would feel comfortable talking to them, or at least maybe initiating, hey, mom, can we talk? Or, hey, mom, we need to talk, or something, well, when you say we need to talk, that as a mom, that's instantly like, oh gosh, what happened? Something bad happened. But just, poke your mom like, hey, I need to listen. I need to talk to you. I think there was a few times I would, or more where, I would come in on your room and just sit on your bed and listen to you talk. And, or you would be on my bed, just provide that safe space. In your office chair, to be correct. But provide that safe space, where you guys can have that conversation. And as a daughter, don't. I think when moms get frustrated is when there's disrespect, and when there's.
And what is that? What is that disrespect? Like, what would you define that as?
You don't know anything. What are you talking? I don't need to listen to you, type thing. Well, you've just basically not honored the fact that they are your parent. They are older than you. They are a little wiser. They've been through life a little bit more than you. Basically you're disrespecting their, I don't want to say position, but they are your parents, and they always will be for the rest of your life. And, I would hope, and I taught you guys this too, that as I had parents, and when we would go see them, I taught my kids to respect them as well. They're their grandparents, and, that was just what we taught you, was respect. And I think moms, they make a really nice dinner and no one says thank you, or, oh, this is really good. It's just, oh, what is this? This is like, that's more gratefulness, I think, than disrespect. But,
yeah. And I think with the respect thing, it does go both ways.
It does.
So
yes.
You have to respect your daughter, and if it's just one-sided and you're saying you have to respect me because I'm the parent,
right?
Well, we did just read this leadership. We're reading this leadership book as a family right now, and it's great. Expanded Leadership, Pastor Mark Ramsey in Carolina, amazing.
Highly recommend.
We're only a couple chapters in and we love it. But he talks about how the lowest level of leadership is positional leadership.
Yes.
When you have to say, I'm the CEO,
or I'm the boss.
You have to respect me, or you have to follow me. And I think that translates into parenting. When you have not built that trust or respect, moms, this is my advice to moms, I guess, is don't just say I'm the mom and you have to respect me because I'm the mom. Like, that's not building respect. Your child is not respecting you more for saying that. They're not trusting you more for saying that. So I think just be careful with that. And I guess really my advice though to moms is to really just listen and hear your daughters. If they're saying something hurt them personally, it's not to attack you. It's not to it's not because they hate you. It's not because they disrespect you. They're saying something genuinely hurt them because they want to grow deeper. They want you to hear them, and they want to grow deeper in relationship with you. So like you were saying, when we come and sit in your office chair and talk with you and stuff, it's about that response though as well. Like if I were to say, Mom, I did something bad, and you were like, I probably wouldn't come and be like, I probably would. I mean, I have done that. we could probably talk about other things, but maybe not like things that I did wrong or bad, but you said you've done that, but I've done that too. I mean, it does take two. Just the other night, we had a little bit of
a disagreement. Well, it started out good and kind of went down the wrong way, and feelings got hurt, and people got defensive. So,
and I think too, I mean, like I played a part in that. I was way too quick to judge when you opened up to me. And so that same response, like, I think it was, I think as a daughter, you also have to be careful of that and make sure if your mom is trying to open up to you, if they're trying.
I was sharing some very personal stuff.
Then you have to not have that reaction. You've got to be patient and gentle and not judgmental, because like I said, they never done this before. They only have what they've seen growing up, as an example, unless they've read books and like all of this. There is like that sort of stuff you can listen to, but so we all make mistakes as daughters, as mothers, but the goal is, and let's talk about the good part of that argument, that why we brought it up, is we both came to the table and apologized. You apologized. You were like, hey, I jumped in, was too defensive. And I was like, hey, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have been so judgmental. And so that was a really good example of how it takes two to kind of come
and reconcile forgive. Forgive is important.
Yeah.
Forgiveness
and forgiving fast, like just so, but so that was good. And also as you get to know each other, you get to know more of like when you jump on the defensive, or when like you get to know more about their personality traits and stuff. And so I know for my mom, when something hurt her, or she kind of closes down, she starts to run away and like clean the house or like do the dishes, or you kind of physically run away from the conversation.
I walk away, yes, or just I'm done. I'm not going to talk about this anymore. And I did not run to the kitchen. I just, I'm just going to go away, and the conversation's over. And then everyone knows I'm mad.
You kind of shut down. And so but like for me, I'm noticing that more. So I push through that.
She pushed me. Leave me alone.
I sit down and I'm like, and also sense like if that's really not the timing, or you don't need that, you need space, sense that timing. But I knew what she needed in that moment was for me to push, and for me to be like, no, this conversation's not over. It's not done. Like, let's work through this. Like, let's talk through this. What's going on? And so, and just noticing those tendencies in your daughter and your mother, all those kinds of things. So
it's good. It's really good.
Well, we are reaching our time here pretty much.
Awesome.
So I think just to end this, is there any last advice on relationships? Any last advice or thoughts on mother-daughter relationships? Like what should we leave people with?
I would just tell mothers to be patient and learn to enjoy the moments, and, take time every day to enjoy those little moments and little things that will make memories for the rest of your life. And as you do that and take time for your daughter, put your phone down, put everything else down, and give them your full attention, you're going to continue to build that trust and that respect. And, like Madison said, I don't think you won't need to demand that they behave because they want to behave to please you, because they know that, you're proud of them, you love them, and you have that good relationship. Yeah.
And then I guess my last thoughts would be, Yeah, both sides. It takes both of you. It takes somebody reaching out and somebody responding. So if your mom hasn't reached out, daughters, you might have to initiate the relationship, even though you're the kid. You might have to reach out and initiate that, and that's okay. And there is hope for it to get better. It just does take time. It takes both parties responding. It takes a little bit of push, and yeah, but it can get better. So, yeah.
All right.
Well, thanks for being
Very
on.
good. Yes.
Thanks for being on. And we will see you next time on Legacy Builders.
All right. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you guys so much for joining us today on the Legacy Builders podcast. Make sure to subscribe so you are notified when a new episode is posted. Now go out and take your first steps in building your family's legacy.